My wonderful people, I am super excited. Oh my God, people, you don't understand how much this means to me. I am super excited. This is us again this time. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I am super excited. Like I am shy at the same time, lost for words. And not because of anything. It's just because it's been 5 weeks or 4 weeks or 4 weeks. 4 weeks of no show, no nothing. You didn't see this pretty face. I didn't see you guys. I am super grateful to God. Bukola me. Hi Shay. Oh my God, people. I am super grateful to God. Oh my God. Like I'm even blushing to myself for myself. I can't believe that I can be off radio or offline or off air for 36 days. Oh my God. I missed you too, Bukola me. Oh my God. Like I'm super grateful to go for each and every one of you that tune in this morning. You can't understand how much this means to me. I Olushayidada, thank you very much. Like, let me tell you one thing that really amazed me in the old time I was like not available. It was that people actually reached out. People sent messages. I mean, I felt like, okay, people will get tired. No, like people did not get tired. Like, y'all want to be a mush this morning, but I will not. I will try to hold it together. But I am super grateful to God. And I want to thank each and every one of you that reached out, that sent a message, that said, oh, I know this. Oh, I know I missed you. Oh, I know the show. What are we having it back? Like, no, guys. You don't understand how I felt it deeply, and I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you. God bless you. God continue to increase you. God cause His face to shine upon you. Hi, my amazing people. Now today, I'm having a special guest. Let me tell you, people. No. I will not cry. I'll keep the emotion to myself. Hi, Bukalami. So this morning, I have a special guest in the house. Now, this special guest is very special because he's a special guest. You got what I'm saying? But he's a friend, a big brother. Thank you, darling. He's a friend. He's a big brother. He's a doctor. He's a relationship expert. He's going to dissect the relationship today. Okay, let's be serious. So this morning I'm gonna have, and the first thing is for us to ask him, what is the meaning of the domesticated man? I said that's my first question. Before I say, hello, how are you doing? I'm gonna ask him. So this morning we're gonna be talking about something very personal to me. And because I have seen a lot of my friends have these struggles, insecurities, have these different issues, and I'm like, you know what? Let this month be for men and men alone. Let's all our guests are men, and this month all our guests are going to be talking about one form of relationship or the other. This week we're going to be having, I can't tell you next week's guest, because if I tell you, y'all will scream off the roof. But let's be calm. Hallelujah. So this morning I'm going to be having the domesticated man is Dr. Sam, and he's going to be talking about men struggles and insecurities. Now, I know that thank you, darling. Oh my God, my people are back. Let me tell you one thing. This morning, nobody is coming to dissect any human being or coming to say, oh, this person is bad, this person is good. We're just trying to share how can we as men, not me. So I mean, how can men be happy? How can that person, that brother, that uncle, that father be a better man and be a better version of himself? So we'll be doing that this morning with the domesticated man. So y'all should go grab some popcorn. Y'all should go grab some drinks. Y'all should go grab some, if you're doing fit fam, y'all should go grab some ketchup and fries. But yes, y'all should go grab something because I'm going to be having the amazing Dr. Sam. I'm calling Dr. Sam till he tells us the meaning of domesticated man. So this morning, y'all put your hands together for the domesticated man. Okay, we'll call him Dr. Sam. Domesticated Dr. Sam. Oh my God. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
No. I promise I'm not going to ask you how you doing. What's the meaning of the restricted man? Because I didn't know. I didn't know the meaning. I didn't. So you have to converse today. Converse your thing one to another.
Okay. But you can hear me very well, right?
We are trying.
First of all, thank you very much for having me.
It's okay.
I think when I started doing this thing, one of the things that I really
I think your headset is making us have the crack.
Okay, hold on. Let me try my regular headphones.
Yeah. Okay, so if you want to see him, okay, so because I'm using 2 platforms, you can come on at Life Matters and Adedire. You'll see him. Please come on at Life. I'm gonna tag it here. At Life Matters and Adedire. So just come on the radio show, and you will see Dr. Sam. He's too much.
Is it better now?
Hallelujah! Praise the Lord.
Okay. So, can I go on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was just saying that I'm grateful for being able to come on your show, because one of the things that when I started doing this, I didn't really take it that seriously. But when I started noticing how the feedback that I was getting, it became really important for me to just get the message out there, no matter what the medium is. And then I remember when I think we both went on Pastor Kingsley's live, and then that was where we met, and I'm like, yeah, you need to invite me and stuff like that. So I'm really happy to be here, because
let me tell you the funny thing about that day. Before you continue, let me tell you the funny thing about that day. So I was like chasing my mom at home, and I saw Kingsley PST come online. So I'm like, what's Pastor Kingsley trying to share with us today? Let's all get some Rema, And everybody, funny enough, was almost all my friends were on his own live. They were like chatting with him and talking back and forth. So immediately I came on live, we were like, hey, Aanu.
I remember, yes, Aanu, hi. Yeah, I remember.
Wait, who is this Aanu? And I was still just like my mom that, this man has been following him, I was still doing my own college at home. So told me, you should link up with him. He's like somebody will be around the domesticated one. Let's check him out. Let's see. Please tell us, what's the idea behind that stuff?
Okay. Yeah. So typically growing up in a Nigerian home, what I got to experience was and this isn't me trying to speak bad or evil of anyone. One of the things that I just really noticed was normal was how, everything that had to do with running a home was left for the woman. And, my dad would go out to make all the money and then, just come home. And every other thing that had to do with the house was my mom's job. And I just kind of grew up. So I grew up, my mom had me, she wasn't married, and I think she got married when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And so we used to cook together, we used to do the dishes together, we used to just do everything together. And so even when she got married, I think that just it struck me that this man wasn't really interested in doing all those things. So I think that was where I began to have that consciousness. And I know I used to have people tease me, or you like to cook too much, or, you like to do things like that. So I think that's where it came from. And because when I started this page, it wasn't really about what I'm doing now. It was just about living my life and showing people that, a man can actually be part and parcel of his home to participate. I think of family as, I don't know how many of us watch soccer, but I think of family as a team. In a team, you have the strikers, you have the midfielders, you have the defenders, right?
Yeah.
A striker is not going to see the opponent trying to score and is going to say, well, I'm not going to defend because it's not my job. A defender is not going to have an opportunity to score for his team and say, well, I'm a defender and it's not my job to score, so I'm not going to score. That team is going to lose. And so for me, being domesticated is just understanding that I can always switch. I don't know how to put it. I can seamlessly play any role that my family requires me to play. Whether it's the traditional wifely, motherly roles, or it's the traditionally manly roles, I can perform any of them, and that's just what it means to be domesticated, really. Nothing like being tamed, as some people, some men have sent me messages to say, nothing like that. It's just about being a team player in my home. That's all. So did I answer? Was the answer good enough?
You're too deep. What's wrong with you like that? You're too deep in Facebook. I never thought of it. Like, I didn't even travel that far. Well, I didn't even think of it in the first place. So I wouldn't have thought you would you were going towards that angle. But that's deep, man. That's deep. Well, I think for me, I think growing up, to date, my father still cooks in the house. So
amazing.
There's no man role. My dad loves cooking. Like, for me, I always tell my mom that my dad is the best cook in the house, just because he can actually cook. Like, guys, like, I'm not even joking this time. He's good. He's good. And I think growing up to that made it easier for me to not see a particular role or see a particular thing for a
man or a woman.
A man or a woman, yeah. So I think my dad taught me how to change the tire. He taught me how to. He worked construction all his life, so he taught me how to, like, different terms in engineering that I don't have an engineering degree, but those little things, I follow him to the site. I'm there when he's talking to the construction workers. Like, it was fun and nice seeing all that. So there was nothing like, oh, so he comes out from work and he's like, oh, your mom is not at home, let's cook. So I grew up knowing that, right? I grew up knowing that my dad will voluntarily go to the market to buy stuff himself. Like, it's not like my mom will not do it. My mom does it too, but there was that balance even till date. Do you understand? There was that balance where there's no the heavy stuff. Me and my dad would carry it, and my brother was always, like, either in school, because we are 5 years apart. So when I was entering, like, primary school, he was leaving. When I was entering secondary school, he was leaving. So we're not always at home together. But, like, growing up amongst guys that cook, work, do everything to make sure the house is good, I think it kind of plays a good role, and it's very good that that's the theme behind what you're doing, or what you're trying to say is, like, not feminism but omnism.
I think because so the idea behind this is, if you notice, right?
Yeah.
What gender roles play, the role that gender roles play is, like, it doesn't allow you to discover who you are. So, for example, if you think about it, 70% of the world's chefs today are male.
Yes.
But, we're not even talking about cooking alone. Like, it's just being able to do everything. And that's the only way you discover what your passion is. For example, now you're talking about maybe your dad taking you to the construction site. Like, what if you were meant to be a great engineer, and your mind works that way? You have all this, there's some people, they just see construction stuff and they understand it immediately. What if that's who you are? And then if you never had the chance to actually be in that space and experience it for yourself and know that this is where my passions lie.
True.
So it's almost as if every girl who is born is trained to be something. Every guy who's born is trained, and that just, any society that behaves that way will actually lose a lot of potential, because Then you're going to have a lot of women who are just doing the traditionally women stuff. Meanwhile, they could have been much, much better at doing so many other things, you know. And you sometimes you see someone say, that's female mechanic. And I'm like, but when you were talking about the mechanic, you didn't say the male mechanic, you know. But it's just kind of amazing because, you know, even roles like doctors and nurses, when you see someone in the hospital and he's a man, everybody assumes he's a nurse. But I mean, when it's a man, everybody assumes he's a doctor, but he could actually be a nurse, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like we have all these traditional things and you don't know what people like to do. You don't know what people enjoy doing. So I think for me, the major thing around raising your kids that way, around having your family that way is that's the way that we will become a team. To understand that my wife is better at doing so many things than me, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to learn to do those things so that whenever she's not around, I can seamlessly just slide into those roles. But she's still, you know, just that's why I use the example of a team. Yes, the striker is the best at scoring goals. But once the striker understands that they are a part of a team, then obviously they're going to try and work on their passing skills. They're going to try and work on their defending skills because they know when I am better at doing this thing, the team wins.
Sure.
Right? So that's really the main thing for me around trying to raise my kids to say, you know, there's no, a man can do anything and a woman can do anything. So find what you are really good at doing. That's the idea.
So for those that just tuning in, just listening to us, welcome to Life Matter to Adedire. We're live right now on Amen Radio. So if you want to listen, you can go to www.amenradio.net. You listen live and you listen to us. Right now, we have an amazing guest. Yes, an amazing guest. He's Dr. Sam. On Instagram, he's known as the domesticated man. A lot of people, a whole lot of people. I've been hearing his gist lately in the last couple of days, and I would say that people are not just like trying to read or trying to listen, they're actually gaining a lot from his page. So don't slack yourself, don't dull yourself, just go on his page. I know you'll learn one or two things. Today we're talking to us about men. What's in their mind, what's in their head? We gotta know today. So we're talking about their struggles and their insecurities, and we're not gonna stick to the African man. We're talking about men generally. So it's not an African man thing, but because we're Africans, our perspective might tailor towards some of the African things we've seen growing up, or vice versa. So whichever one. And please, if you have any questions, please just drop your questions in the comment section. I'm gonna read them. I'm seeing everybody. I'm sorry I can't like call everybody's name one by one, but thank you very much for tuning in this morning. My first question is this: who is a man? Because there is who people believe should be a man. There'll be things people would say, this is, if a guy does this, is the man. And there are things that people believe that a man should, someone called a man is meant to be the one doing it. So the first question is, who is a man?
So the simplest answer I will give to that question would be that a man is whoever he wants to be. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I was just talking with my wife today how I was reading on CNN yesterday that white meat, eating chicken and fish, is almost the same thing now as eating beef. And you know, for a very long time, they've told us that beef is more dangerous than eating white meat.
Yeah.
And you know, we're just talking, we're like, these people say, as in, they'll tell you one thing, they'll change to another thing. And I was just telling her, I said, but you know what I love about it is that there's growth. Even if we've believed something for 1,000 years, if there is research, if there is evidence to show that it is different now, then let's face the difference. Let's embrace it. Because the only reason why they're discovering this is because even though there was evidence at the time to say red meat is worse than white meat, someone was still asking, is this really true? Is this really good? And for me, that's just what it means to be a man, to to keep learning, to keep finding out, to be curious, to say, the society I'm living in, the place that I found myself, my family, my workplace, my home, what is my role? And I think that every individual has to ask themselves that question and be able to answer it based on the environment that they found themselves. And again, you know, if we're talking like in terms of what we're just discussing, my role as a man in my home, that when my wife goes to work, what it means for me to be a man at that moment is to take care of my kids, is to make sure that when she comes back, there's food for her to eat. That's what it means at that particular time for me to be a man. And so, in fact, I think I would take it back to say, to be a man is first to be a human being. So wherever it is that you are, you want to ask yourself that question in relation to your environment and who you want to be. And I'm saying that because it shouldn't be based on what people have said in the past. It shouldn't be based on what you have heard, what you have read, or what your father was doing, or what your uncle was doing. You always want to be evolving. You know, I don't know if you read the definition of learning. It's amazing. It's that you are evolving based on what you see, what you observe. That's what learning is. You're being aware of your environment and you are changing based on what you're observing. So yeah, for me, I just think that being a man is you have to find that out for yourself, what being a man is, and it means not paying attention to what society is trying to tell you. Because, you know, if you jump from Lagos to Calgary to Edmonton to London, the definition is always different. Have you realized that?
Sure.
The definition is always different. It's always changing. You know, one of the things I noticed when I first came to Canada was, you know how they always say, you know, men like curvy women, they like big boobs, like big ass and stuff like that. One of the first things I noticed when I came here was the Native Americans. They're not built that way, but their men still love them like that.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking, if this is something that all men like, then the Native women will not even have any man in their life. Because, I mean, it's inbuilt in us, because that's what I always grew up to believe. And in fact, you know, growing up, I realized I didn't really like those things. But you know, when you're so indoctrinated by what you see on TV, and it's like, oh yeah, I would like a woman to have it. But you know, sometimes when I still sit down and think about it, I'm like, no, but I don't really like those things. So again, it's about you defining what it means for you personally. And we really need to be aware, because the world around us is telling us so many things. So many things. Like, you really need to be able to tune out and say, what do I want for myself? Yeah.
People, and we've not started the show. I'm telling you. You know, one of the things that caught my attention to what you were saying was a man is someone that is open to change. And this is where my next question is leading to. Let's come to the African man, because men generally, we know that as a man, you are the father, the uncle, the brother, the son to a woman. Now, that change, it's something that's a bit difficult when it comes to men. And I'll put on a little bit of a general scale. People assume that when a man is rigid and stands by, I am the man, I'm in charge, that is the man. That's what society has defined as the man that will say, go and sit down, and everybody just sit down, bam, and nobody can say, but let's sit down and think about this, and why should I sit down? Why should I do this? Or why should I do that? Or when a lady is like, oh no, I don't think this is better. This is how I think it should be done. The man is already twitching on fighting for his role, like you said, as the head, as the this, even though technically the head of that person that you are edging, not the head of all the women in the world. Because that is a misconception that since they said the man is the head, the man at work is, and I think a lady stated this at work. So they were at a dinner or something, or no, like a lunch at work, and all the men sat down expecting the and it was like a firm. All the men sat down expecting the lady to serve them, and none of the ladies did that. And they took offenders, and this guy blasted this lady. Do you know who I am? Do you know? And she's like, you are the head to your wife at home. Your wife can serve you dinner. But that's the thing. Rigidity is common to who the society defines as a man. So when you say a man should be susceptible to change, it's like we're talking about two different things.
So, you know, because I was born in a Christian home, and I would say that my home was more of a really religious environment. You know, we would go to church maybe, I don't know, four times a week sometimes, and you know, we got to really read the Bible, and most of the time it got me asking myself a lot of questions. Now, because we live in a world where everyone is not Christian, I always try to let people understand that I am open to everything, but I'm a Christian. And the fact that I'm a Christian just means one thing. It means that I am trying to live like Christ. There's no other definition to my being Christian. I'm not a Pharisee, I'm not a Hebrew, I'm not a Jew, I'm not an Israelite. I'm a Christian, and that just means that I want to model my life after Christ. Why am I saying this? When we talk about leadership, a lot of people confuse it with the word dictatorship. Now, think about Jesus Christ. Came into the world, did everything that he did, died for you and me, even though he did not even know if you and I were going to believe in him or not. He had no idea what decisions you were going to make. He just came, he lived his life, and he left. That's leadership. That's the best definition of leadership. Any man who wants to understand what leadership is should look to Jesus Christ. This is not whether you're a Christian or you're a Muslim or you're a pagan or whatever. I'm not saying believe in him. Even if you're a Buddhist and you're saying you're looking to Buddha, even if you believe in Mahatma Gandhi or whoever it is that you believe in, the point is leadership means that someone is doing something and expecting other people to look up to them. Dictatorship is different. Dictatorship means that you're always telling people what to do, as opposed to letting them see you do it. So leadership in my home means if I want my wife to be a forgiving person, I have to be a forgiving man. If I want my wife and my children to be loving, I have to be a loving man. If I want my wife to serve me, I have to serve my wife. If I want my wife to pay attention to me, I have to pay attention to her. And this is why I always tell the men that I coach, if you understood what leadership is, marriage will actually scare you. Because it is truly difficult to live by example. Can you imagine when you're so angry and you just want to explode and you're like, I'm the leader? I have to be calm. I have to behave myself. And that isn't always easy.
Sure.
That is what leadership means. And so, especially when we say that we are Christians, I think that Christians should relate more to this. If you believe that you are the leader in your home, you're not a dictator. you're the leader,
Mm.
then you need to live by example.
Mm.
Whatever it is that you want in your home, that you want your children to portray, that you want your wife to portray, then it means that it begins with you.
Mm.
And the interesting thing about that is, when the Bible talks about a husband, it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. If the Bible stopped there, it would have been like, okay, Christ loved the church, right? But it says, and gave his life
for it. Mm. Mm.
You know, people always talk about, and now I'm digressing a bit, but people always talk about how a woman is supposed to submit to her husband.
Okay, so since you digress,
but let me tell you.
Sorry, since you digress,
Yeah?
let me just pick this question that Dami has already asked so that you can fit it. So she said,
okay,
please, what exactly is submission when African men say women are not submissive? So just in the digression.
okay. okay. So, you know, when a couple of months ago I was having a conversation with my wife, and she said, you know, that when she was marrying me, people sat her down and said, when your husband talks, don't argue with him. When there's a disagreement, you keep quiet. You know, they told her some of these things that I cannot even believe. And I was like, but that just makes you silent in the relationship.
That makes you
so I am not benefiting from your presence. And I cannot have that. Like, if we're gonna be in a relationship, do you know, sometimes when I go like on Instagram, I want to comment on something, right? Sometimes I read other people's comments because it gives me a rounded perspective. I can't think of everything. Like, I don't know everything. You know, the other day I wanted to talk to a client, and, you know, she said, oh, I'm in Calgary, I want us to meet up and all that. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I was like, I don't even know where I'm going to meet with you. And I just told my wife, I'm like, I don't know. She just gave me the best idea ever. I didn't even think about it.
Mm.
In a home, submission doesn't mean that you're not going to say anything.
Mm.
Submission in a home is amazing, which is what I wanted to talk about. Can you tell me how much more submissive a person can be than giving their life for their spouse? Like, isn't that the greatest form of submission, for you to say, take my life?
Mm.
I lay my life down for you.
Mm.
I always tell people that I am more of a Christian now as an adult and as a married man than I was when I was a kid, because being married has explained a lot of things that the Bible was talking about.
Mm.
When the Bible says you lay down your life, that is submission.
Mm.
You're giving your life to someone else.
Mm.
And if you think about when we started this conversation, I told you that marriage is a team.
Yeah.
If I'm the striker, I'm the star of that team, that's fine. But it means that I am good at doing certain things.
Mm.
And those things that I am good at doing, that makes me a leader in those things.
Mm.
It is also leadership for me to be able to recognize the things that my wife is also good at.
Yeah.
And recognize her leadership, because again, the goal here is team.
Yeah.
That's why you have God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
You just notice how they're talking, you're reading the Bible and you're hearing about the three of them, and it's like, who is doing what here? It's because they have one goal. Synergy. And so for me, submission in a marriage is ever changing. It's ever evolving. There are things that I have to defer to my wife to say, hey, Because once you begin to understand that marriage is a team, it's not me against you. It's not I have to win for you to lose and you need to win and I need to. That's not what it's about. It's about both of us winning. And so why will I be fighting my wife if I recognize that she's good at something? That's foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
If my wife is good at doing something, I follow. Lead the way, let's go, because this thing our family must win. Our family must get the best score in it. That is me being submissive. That is me. And I really think that the reason why the Bible put those things in those terms is because the Bible was appealing to maybe our nature as male and female. To know, to say you have to give your life as a man. One of the things that I always think about when I hear that statement is my selfish desires. I have to lay them on the cross. I have to give them up in order for my family to succeed. And when two people are in a relationship and they truly understand that, first of all, marriage is about a team. It's not about two people. It's about a team. And so submission is going to be ever evolving because what you bring to the team is different from what I bring to the team. And it is my responsibility to recognize what you bring. The amazing qualities that you bring, and for me to defer to you because I understand that those are your strengths, and for you to defer to me because you also understand that those are my strengths.
So going back to the original question, before I go back to it, I just wanted to give an example that I saw from this lady, Sarah Roberts, and her husband, and they gave an example which was very, very unique. And sorry, I was trying to pick up my lipstick. So these two lipsticks, they're same color, orange. And they gave an example of, I think it was submission, or when they say a couple, or when they say being a team, just in the terms you use. Now, he said that when we're a team, one person is not trying to cover, like hide the other person. And the other person is not trying to hide the other person. Because when we do that, the wind force will take the person in front out, or the wind force can take the other person behind. But he said when we come together and we stand together, it will take a greater force to want to throw this off balance. So for me, I think that when it comes to submission, or when it comes to relationships, I think that understanding that this is my spouse's strength, so you lead the way, but I'm right beside you, right? And this is your own strength, you lead the way. So when we do that every time, nobody will know who is doing work. Just like if I do like magic and I say which one's on my left, which on my right, you will not know because they're the same thing, right? They're the same color, same application, same everything. You can't know the difference. And that is how it's meant to be. And I feel like submission is one person letting off their power and saying, okay, I will stand by you. And the other person saying, okay, it's my turn. And the other person saying, it's my turn. The more we do that every time, nobody will know what's in between you guys. Nobody will know what exactly, who is doing what. Just like, I think it was a couple that was saying when the husband it was my pastor. He said, nobody knows who is paying for what. Because when they were courting, he didn't even have much. She was working, had a car, she was a business, everything was good. But now, it's going to a place where if she says, oh, we'll get it, nobody has to know who is getting it. And it's the same way when they were cutting, that she would just put the money inside his pocket and he would do like a big man and pay for it. And nobody will know that it's her that's paying, and nobody will know now that he's the one paying for what. And I think submission should be like that, where you should is it me or the lady is not clear?
Yeah, your video is kind of blurry.
Really? Wow, it's very clear from here though. Like super clear. That's weird. But like for me, I believe that it's very, very important that if we as a couple or we as a team know that the better our strengths come together, the better it is for our team. So,
and that's the key word.
That's the key word.
You see, the first step to anyone, before we even begin to talk about submission, before we even begin to talk about leadership, before we begin, the first thing is for the couple to recognize that they are a team. They are a team. Look, it's hard because, think about it, before most people get married, you've lived your life as an individual for what, maybe 25 years.
Yeah.
And now it's like, how do I incorporate someone else into my life? So it's not really easy, if we're being honest. But that's where the difficulty is, in having a team mentality. If you understand, because I was talking to a client 2 days ago or so, and she was telling me how she's in a relationship and, you know, her husband is making a lot more money than she is. And it just kind of makes her feel inadequate. And I was trying to share with her, and I was saying that the problem that we have in relationships these days is we're thinking separately.
Oh, you will live long.
If you and I just think about it, and people don't understand when the Bible says one will chase 1,000 and two will chase 10,000. People don't get it, because it's like, I have 1,000, but then this other person has 5,000. Now I have 6, and they have 6. Like, we are a team. So if my husband or my wife was making a lot more money, my brain is, I am making much more money. My brain is, man, my account is growing.
We are ballers.
We are ballers. We are ballers. And you know what? Not a lot of people might get this, but let me share a testimony. And I always tell this to my clients. It's one of the first things I tell them. And this is just to show you what a team mentality can do for a family. When I initially came to Canada, you know, I didn't have any credit, obviously. In there, I told the bank, I said, look, I need some money. I want to write my exams. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I said, you know, I want to write my exams and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, sure. So they checked and everything, and they said, sorry, you don't have credit. We can't give you any money to write your exams and all of that. So they gave me a $1,000 credit card. And they said, take this, spend it, let's see, build your credits. So when the guy gave me the card, I brought it home, I showed my wife and everything. And then, you know, it just occurred to me. And I'm like, I have a card and she doesn't. So I went back to the bank and I said, I want you to put my wife's name on the card. So they gave me a form to fill, blah, blah, blah. I filled the form. When the card was sent to us, I realized that the card, even though it was in her name, she didn't have access to it in her online banking. So I went back to the bank and I'm like, my wife doesn't have the same privileges that I have with this card. He said, yeah, we don't advise people to do that because, you know, in the future, anything can happen. You know, if you put your wife's name on, she could make changes without you knowing, blah, blah, blah. I just smiled. I said, I understand where you're coming from. Don't worry. But that's what I want to do. So he put her name on the card. We filled out the forms. We signed it. They sent her own card. It appeared on her online banking. Now, after I had built my credit for about a year, I went back to the bank to get a loan again. This time, they just gave me money for the exam. And they said, we can't give you any more. And I honestly needed money to be able to take care of my family and stuff like that, so I don't work too much, so I get to have time to study. So I just collected the loan and I left the money there with very high interest. Would you believe that about 8 months later, one day I just logged into my wife's online banking because we have the same account, so our names are just there. This same bank offered my wife almost ×4 of the amount of money that I was begging for at half the interest. I want you to think about that. She didn't go to the bank to ask for money. They offered it to her ×4 of the amount. And what do you think I did? I accepted it. And guess what? The same bank that was refusing to give me loan,
you give your wife.
who did he end up giving that money to
She
now?
came back to you.
it still came back to me because we are a team. What I couldn't achieve single-handedly,
you achieved with her.
You know, sometimes, like when you're going and you're asking for credit, it's like, okay, maybe this person needs this thing. But she was just there, her credit score was just going high and high and high. And they're like, this person is not even asking us for credit. Let's give her. That was how we began to do some of the things that we're doing now to move forward as a family. Because of team. The reason I'm doing this is because you see, wherever you are today as a couple, as a partnership, as a marriage, you would be 10 steps ahead if you worked as a team. This is just a fact.
True.
And so many couples are not, they're not tapping into that potential. Like, it just drives me crazy. Whenever I see people working individually, you are in a home. My parents did the same thing. They're still doing the same thing. They're still working individually. Our parents did it, but that's where we need to begin to make changes because there's a potential there. If you work as a team, look, the best basketball teams, the best soccer teams, the best teams are the ones that have worked hand in hand. And you know, marriage is beautiful. You know, I'm not saying it's not challenging. I'm not saying there's not going to be fights, but there's a reason why it exists. It is for building. And too many people are not taking advantage of it because we still go into it with our individual me. That's how we go into it. And once you're in there with that mentality, it is so hard to work as a team. Because if you're with the me mentality, then when you're making moves, you're making your moves with a backup plan. You see, it's not all in. You're thinking, if this person no go disappoint me, or, you know, that kind of thing. Like, this person shouldn't. I'll keep some extra. I coached a couple the other day. The husband was saying, let's go on a vacation. The wife said, no money. The husband was like, okay, fine, but I know we need some alone time. It's so stressful with the kids and all of that. Do you know that after speaking to this couple for a couple of weeks, I realized that the woman had about $20,000 saved in her account? She told me, she said, Dr. Sam, I don't trust this man. Let me not lie to you. I don't know what he might do tomorrow. I need to have this backup for myself and my kids. And it just really, it made me so sad. And I looked at them and I said, look at you. You have enough money to go on a vacation. You have enough money for trust fund. You have enough money, but you're not working as a team.
Oh my God.
So wife is having backup. Husband is having backup. They could have gone on 10 vacations. They could have gone on 10 vacations and they could have still been okay. But for that woman, that money is a backup fund. And that's the danger of having a me mentality. And of course, when we get into topics like this, of course, you have to understand that before you can become a team, you have to have trust in that relationship. Yeah. And what people don't understand is trust is not given. I just find it so amazing that so many coaches talk about trust and they talk about it like it's something you have to give to someone. I can't trust you even if I want to. You have to earn it. The best I can do is give you the benefit of doubt. And many couples today have been living their relationships on the benefit of the doubt. And the problem with benefit of the doubt is it is a decision. If I have to tell myself to give you the benefit of the doubt, the direct meaning of that is that I don't trust you. And that's not a bad thing. But it just means that we have to be earning that trust. Because it is only through earning trust that you and I can become a team. Because a team means that when I'm at work and you're at home, I know, I have a conviction in my heart that whatever you're doing is for the betterment of our family. I'm not having a sneaky feeling at the back of my mind to say, I don't know what Aanu is up to, where she is. Or if that is what I'm thinking, and I have to tell myself, no, I can trust Aanu. I can trust her. No. Aanu won't do anything. Do you see how that is going? I'm having doubts. I will be making plans and I will be having backups.
Okay, Jade, okay, I'm gonna ask your question just before now. Going back to the original question, I know you've touched base on some of the answers in the question, but the original question, which is about change and rigidity for a man. Now he's the head of the home, and I gave a couple of examples to show where men actually just feel, oh, I have to be, the society believes I should be rigid because that's what they define as a man, because I've seen my father act like that, and that's what a man means. And now you're saying a man should be susceptible to change. How do you bring that together?
How do you bring that together? Okay, so which actually is one of the things, you know, when I saw the topic, when you sent it to me, I think it was 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
I was really excited because even though a lot of us have our various insecurities, I think there are a couple that are actually kind of unique to a man. And one of them, which I will talk about, which is our struggle with emotions, which is directly related to what you're talking about, having to be a hard guy, having to be a strong man, you know, like, you know, I'm the ruler here, I'm the man. When I was growing up, I would watch movies and I would cry. And people would laugh at me.
Men don't cry.
Men don't cry. You know, I remember a particular time when I was in med school. I was watching a horror movie, like a really bloody movie with some guys. And, you know, we were what? We were like, you know, 17, 18. And I don't know if you've seen this movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, I don't like horror movies, you know.
You know, many women, it is actually strange to find women who like horror and bloody movies. And there's a reason for that. There are women who do.
Yeah.
But that's not the norm.
Yeah.
It is more men that enjoy movies like that.
Yeah.
And you see, as I was watching that movie, I was in pain and the men around me were laughing. And I remember thinking to myself, I need to be laughing too.
Wow.
I can't be, you know? And I remember I just started laughing. And it was so fake because deep down within me, I was feeling everything. You know, I have gone on dates with a girl. I've gone on a date with a girl and we watched a movie and I cried and that girl never went out with me again. You know, I have gone on a date with a girl and I didn't want to drink alcohol. I wanted to have...
Moreni actually loves the movie.
Which one?
The chainsaw movie, the horror movie.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like I said, there are women that like it. When I watched that movie, it was so, like I watched it when I was 17. It was so traumatic for me. You know, there was a lot of killing, there was a lot of cutting, there was a lot of, you know, like cutting off people's breasts and people crying and people so scared.
Hallelujah.
It was so bloody.
Yeah, so let's move on to the dates. The dates you said you went for. Yeah.
Okay. So I went on a date with this girl and we watched a movie and, you know, what was the name of that movie now? 7 Pounds. I would never forget that movie. It's a Will Smith movie where he caused an accident and then spent the rest of his life trying to atone for killing 7 people. So basically, he found someone to give his eyes to, his heart, his kidneys, and stuff like that. Like he died to give life to people who were dying just to atone for causing that accident. And that movie really touched me because it was like, this is someone who actually feels remorse and is taking responsibility for his actions. And it was so emotional for me. And anyways, the girl was like, oh my God, like, why are you crying? Like, you know. And the reason I'm giving these examples is this. From a very young age, and this isn't something that is unique to Africans alone. From a very young age, men are told not to display emotion.
Sure.
Men are constantly being told that a display of emotion
makes you weak.
Is weak, it's feminine, and it's being a sissy.
Sure. Sure.
Now, if this is what you're telling a man right from the time when he is a young boy, what's gonna happen? First, the reality of the matter is this. The man feels like crying. The man experiences pain. The man experiences heartbreak. The man experiences all these emotions. That's the reality. But what is he doing now? Based on what society is telling him, he has to begin to pretend that those emotions do not exist. He has to begin to lie to himself that those emotions do not exist. That's the first thing a man is taught to do, to lie. If a man grows up lying to himself, think about that for a second. He is growing up to lie to himself. What's going to happen? At some point, he will begin to believe that lie. At some point, that lie will become true to him. So what is he thinking? I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry because I don't want to look weak. I'm not going to cry is going to evolve and metamorphose to something emotional happens and I don't even feel anything. Because I have trained myself over time not to feel anything. Now, when such a man gets into a relationship, what you have effectively done is you have killed every feeling of empathy in that man. Because again, you have to understand, the reason why I was crying for those movies is because I put myself in the person's shoes in the movies. Because I felt their pain. It has nothing to do with what was happening in the movie. It's because it was so real to me that I felt that person's pain.
Sure.
And that is what has been killed in a lot of men. And of course, the evidence is there. You see a man, he's doing some things. You can see his family is suffering from it. You can see his children are suffering from it. But it's like he's not even connected to it. You know, sometimes you just find yourself wondering, like, what is this person thinking? Like, is he not seeing what's happening? The saddest part is that we now have so many men like that, that even women are beginning to consider that as also normal. So, of course, if I'm not empathetic and my wife is telling me she's crying, what's in my mind? Why are you crying?
Sure.
She's emotional. She's feeling bad about something. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, because I have trained myself so much, and to me, this is now what strength means. So if you ask me how to marry both, I would say that for a lot of our men, it takes a lot of consciousness. And for some people, it might not be possible anymore, because the only way that they can get to the point where they can begin to retrain themselves to feel these things anymore would actually be for them to go to therapy.
A lot of men bottle
and
up
the principal thing that you need to go to therapy is that you need to actually recognize that there's a problem. You know, if you go to the doctor and you need to give birth, doctor does not need you to do anything. They just do everything. The difference between doctor and patient and client in therapy is, in order for you to help a client, the client actually needs to know that they need the help. Because you can't help them on your own. They need to be available and be willing to do the work. So how do you tell a man, how do you convince a man that there's something that he can change when he doesn't even see the need? The biggest thing for us to do now is to start the work in the next generation. I put up a post about this the other day. And, you know, I could still see people arguing about it because people couldn't understand. I remember one guy saying, hey, you can't just expect a man to just go and be crying and crying like a crybaby. And I'm like, it's not just about crying. It's about being comfortable enough to display your emotion. Because here's the thing.